What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. As always, I like to remind you guys that if you want to donate to this channel, if you want to show love to this channel, you can do so in the links provided in the description box. Now, let's talk about Kawhi Leonard. I haven't talked about him since the Raptors won the championship. Most people aren't even talking about the Raptors anymore. They're talking about Kawhi Leonard. And as free agency looms upon us, he is the number one topic. It once was Kevin Durant, but as Kevin Durant is coalescing from the injury and subsequent surgery from the injury that he's suffered in the NBA Finals, um, most likely we're not going to see the Kevin Durant of old. If we ever do see that level of play from Kevin Durant again, but I think we will, we won't really see Kevin Durant play until again probably sometime during the 2020-21 season. Now, he may come back late next year, but as someone made an interesting point, I think Shannon Sharp made this point, for a guy who may have exacerbated and worsened his injury from coming back perhaps a little bit too early, most likely you're going to see a Kevin Durant that's going to be 100% certain that he's fully recovered this time from his injury. So it's very likely we may not see Kevin Durant again until, at the very least, maybe in the playoffs next year, but probably more likely the 2020-21 season. Now, Kawhi Leonard, the vindicated Kawhi Leonard, the Kawhi Leonard that has been pilloried by so many people for having the load management strategy, which apparently has worked for him. Now he's at the pinnacle of basketball. I can't recall the last time there was a player of his magnitude that was coming off of a championship team that is such a sought-after free agent. Now, there have been times that we've had guys who have won a championship and were upcoming for free agency that were up to that level or even higher. For instance, Michael Jordan, after '96 comeback year, won a championship, his fourth. But it was pretty much a given that he was going to resign with the Chicago Bulls. Now, interestingly enough, the New York Knicks, this came out years later, the New York Knicks did make a play for Michael, and they offered him $25 million. At that time, that was an unheard of sum for 1 year. And there was a brief period of time where the Jordan and his agent at the time, Falk, I think it was the name, they were considering signing with the Knicks. But then the Bulls came back with a $30 million offer for the season, 96-97, and the rest was history. Uh, but for a guy like Kawhi Leonard to have come off a championship, playing at the level he's played, and then to be in this position is very, very rare. And of course, the speculation is whether or not he's going to re-sign with the Toronto Raptors or whether he's going to go to the sexy pick, which is to play for the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers, of course, would be a dream team if he were to join them. Essentially, to me, this roster, at least the heart of the roster, would be stronger than the heart for the Miami Heat team, and generally speaking, I think it would be even stronger lineup than the Golden State Warriors, because essentially you have four All Stars, real All Stars in the lineup. You would have Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, and I believe that Kyle Kuzma is an All Star. Even if he wasn't picked, he's an All Star caliber player. And essentially, you do have three future Hall of Famers, and if Kuzma can project to being a James Worthy level player, four Hall of Famers in your lineup. So That's interesting. Then you still have, I believe, Rondo in the picture. But of course, after that, cash would be kind of strapped, and you don't know who the Lakers can sign after that. But I mean, my goodness, well, for a lineup like that, barring injury, that's almost enough. But the question remains, guys, what is Kawhi Leonard going to do? Now, recently, I thought that it was 60-40 that he was going to re-sign with the Toronto Raptors. Maybe out of a sense of loyalty. They won the championship, and you know, you get to be the number one guy, and you have a whole country behind you, Canada, a whole market. I mean, what other NBA player can boast an entire country as his market? That's a very alluring thing for a guy like Kawhi Leonard. But Kawhi Leonard is a very different individual. Kawhi Leonard is a guy that marches to the beat of his own drummer, and he can do whatever because he's just built differently. His thinking mechanisms are different from most people in his position. I do remember something that he said in an interview recently. It was before they won the championship. He stated that he's not a guy that's driven by numbers, records. I'm going to add this into the statistics. He only cares about winning. Now, when you heard him say that, if you're a Laker fan, you're encouraged by that because I do believe that Kawhi Leonard doesn't really care about if he averages 20 points or whether he averages 30 points. I think what he cares about is seeing that W in the win column and hoisting up the Larry O'Brien trophy at the end of the season. I think that's what he cares about more than anything else. He's the ultimate team player because no matter what you want to believe or not, this guy was farmed through the San Antonio Spurs system. And he thrived in that system, that Popovich system. So even though he's individually a brilliant player and that Popovich system was suppressing his overall talent, he still was a part of that. Basically, what I'm saying is that he's the ultimate team player, whether people want to believe it or not. He's a cerebral assassin, and I do believe that if he would have joined the Lakers, they would figure it out. Um, Kawhi is a ball dominant guy. LeBron James is a ball dominant guy. Davis is a pretty ball dominant guy. But LeBron and them figured it out in Miami, but the stage was different then. That was LeBron James, the peak of his powers. 2000, 2014, that was LeBron when he was aged between 25 and 29 for that club. Now you have a LeBron James that's 34 going on 35. Dwayne Wade at that time was 28 to 32. At the beginning of that run, he was in his prime, but he began to slow down. Bosh was, I guess, in his prime, but he was the third man on the totem pole, and he had to sacrifice more than anybody else. He had to change his game. I think LeBron James. I know a lot of people that are subscribed to me don't like LeBron James. I get it. Some of your comments are funny. I laugh at them. But I think the time to we got to stop, and I got to do it too. We got to stop shitting on LeBron James so much, man. I know y'all guys don't want to hear that, but the guy's an all-time great player. There are some things about LeBron James that I don't like when it pertains to basketball. Uh, but I think it goes too far with some of you guys. And I saw that when I did that video about LeBron giving up his jersey number. I saw some people say things like, "Oh, well, this is just him trying to copy Kobe." I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Trying to copy Kobe? I don't know. But LeBron James at this stage of his career, he would have to realize that these guys are at this stage of their careers arguably better players now. And in order for this to work, he has to be the bigger player and take a step back because actually, in the long run, it would help his game. It would help to preserve him physically, number one. It would take pressure off of him, number two, because Kawhi Leonard has shown that he has the leadership intangibles to be the number one guy. Anthony Davis might be the most dominant of the three players from a statistical standpoint, but Kawhi Leonard has shown that he can be that leader. He may not be the vocal leader, that typical raw leader that we're accustomed to seeing, but he has shown he can lead a team to an NBA championship. And LeBron James can still be the veteran leader, if that makes any sense. But I can see it working for the Lakers. And another thing I want to say in closing, too. Um, you Warrior fans out there, you don't get to bitch and complain about this being a super team. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it, man. Look, I've grown accustomed now to this new NBA, and I didn't like it initially when Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, but it was the best move for him. It was the best move for Kevin Durant, and whatever Kevin Durant decides in the near future is the best move for Kevin Durant. Whatever Kawhi Leonard decides to do is the best move for Kawhi Leonard. I don't want to hear any of these Warrior fans because I know who you are because you guys have been subscribed to me for a long time. I don't want to hear no complaining. Percy Bedford. If Kawhi Leonard joins the Lakers, you can't be hypocritical on this, man. Look, you gotta be consistent on this. If you defended Kevin Durant joining the Warriors, then you have to, at the same time, defend his decision to join Lakers. And it's not about LeBron. See, the thing is, you guys don't like LeBron James. You understand what I'm saying? You don't like LeBron James. And that's always been your target, LeBron. But this isn't about him. This is about the Lakers. This is about what Kawhi Leonard wants to do. And that's that. LeBron James just happens to be there. You know what I'm saying? If this is a game of one-upmanship, if Kevin Durant wants to leave the Warriors, then essentially he's kind of giving up that legacy battle. So Kevin Durant's going to have to decide what he wants to do. Does he want to prove that he can be his own man? If that's what it is, But at the same time, if he does that and goes to New York, his chances of winning a championship plummets. So we have to see with that, Yeah, statistically, if he goes to a team like the New York Knicks or maybe the Nets, but probably the Knicks, why he wants to play for the Knicks, I have no idea. Statistically, if he's able to fully recover from this Achilles injury, yeah, Kevin Durant will put up phenomenal individual numbers. Probably lead the NBA in scoring again, perhaps by a considerable margin. But his years of winning championships might come to an end. So it'll be more of a statistical thing with him. Maybe like Karl Malone. He'll be a statistically dominant NBA player, but his years of winning championships will come to an end. Whereas with LeBron James, if this team were to come into fruition, then it's championships, and they better win championships if they have a team like this. But tell me what you guys think, man, about this.